Hey guys, welcome back to the Big D Podcast. This is a separate episode than we've ever done before. Today I actually have somebody who's going to be interviewing me on the Big D Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Sachkowsky. We talk about wealth, freedom, and relentless execution. But today's going to be a little bit different. We're going to talk about my story. So you, the audience, get to know me a little bit better. Even though I put bits and pieces in my podcast about my journey and the things I've gone through to help you identify those things and those bottlenecks and everything going on in your life. Today's going to be a full-fledged episode with just about me and my story and the questions that are going to be asked to me. So,
Yo, Big D in the house, baby. Relentless execution, you already know. This is for the dream chasers, the grinders, the doers. Let's get it. Relentless execution, we don't ever stop. Climbing to the top, we rise like a rocket. Big D's the name, yeah, I'm running the game. From the ground up, now they all know the name. Big D.
I have a good friend of mine here, Sean Martin. He's also a coach and a super successful business owner. And I chose Sean to interview me because he's a real person. He's able to connect and he's able to ask real questions that are qualify me to help you understand who I am and how I can help you and what I really bring to the marketplace. So, Sean, thank you.
Thank you, brother. I'm honored to be doing this. But let's dive right in, man, because I know you're not one for wasted time. Dan, you built multiple service-based businesses in construction, real estate, scaling them to multiple seven figures. But you've also been very open, more importantly, about the pressure that comes along with building businesses, the setbacks and learning things the hard way, like most of us do. So not from a highlight reel, brother. You're real, raw, and honest. So for the entrepreneur listening who feels behind, boxed in by past mistakes, limited resources, or heavy responsibility, what advantage did struggle give you that people who had it easy never developed?
Well, I think struggle allows you to identify the things in your life that aren't working. It allows you to identify the shifts that you need to make. And I think a lot of times, when people involved in business, they look at struggle as almost a failure code. And, they get involved in business and they set themselves to a pace and here's what I can do. I want to be a glorified employee in my business. This is all I can do. This is all I'm capable of. I just want my business to be easy. I just want things to be easy. But when you're really trying to go out there and make an impact and make a difference, you struggle, you fail, you go through all these different episodes. And they're key identifiers of who you are in the moment. And if you want to become somebody different and somebody bigger than where you are right now, you have to see what those struggles created for you. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Say, how can I use this for my benefit? What is this doing to me? How is this allowing me to grow? And through all of those episodes, I went bankrupt at 24. That allowed me to realize that, hey, I couldn't do this thing on my own. I made, almost $4 million in 7 years, 17 and 24. And the one thing I struggled with was being humble enough to put my pride in my back pocket and say, I couldn't do this myself. And the reason why I ended up falling on my face was because I had this feeling like I got this. And many business owners out there got that feeling like I got this. And, they never want to admit it. So if you ask a business owner, hey, how are you doing? How's business? Oh, everything's great. But on the other side of the wall, it's not, because they're trying to struggle. They're trying to figure it out. And they're trying to put all these things together and make it work. And they're just not getting to that next place because they don't want to use those key identifiers that are holding them back and change them for where they need to be.
That's awesome. And, I know it because I've lived through it. So that's why I know you're so passionate about helping entrepreneurs. But let's talk about some personal things that happened to you and how they affected you. At the ripe old age of 40 years old, I bust your chops because you're my boy, you had a fucking heart attack, bro. For most people, that's a signal to slow down and play it safe. But you said it completely changed how you play the game, and you definitely didn't play it safe after that. Take us into that moment. What shifted in your mindset, your priorities, your execution after that happened, and how did it reshape what you're building today?
Yeah, that's a great question. So everything I was building up to that point, at that point I was 23 years in business. I made a lot of money. I lost a lot of money. But one thing I didn't do was make an impact on other people. Meaning, I chased money, I chased goals, and I just wanted to build these big companies. And by building these big companies, what I did do was I employed people, built some houses, had some real estate, had great opportunity. But during that time of that heart attack, I realized one thing. If I were to die today, what impact did I really make on this world? What lives did I really change? 10, 15, 20 years from now, what are the stories that are going to be told about me and why I existed? And I think most people don't clearly understand that. We don't know the day we're born. We don't know the day we're dead. And we can't control those days. But what we can control is that hash in between. So I knew that God gave me another opportunity to control that hash and make that hash impactful. So I said, what I've been able to create over the last, let's say, 10 years from that point was building businesses that ran without me. Having a life and business at the same time, which 95% of business owners didn't. I knew the way I felt about having that, the way I felt about enjoying my family, the way I felt about making money, but also living in a way that I can enjoy that money with those I love. When I look at other business owners and I realize that they all struggle, they struggle with the things I struggled with early on and they didn't want to change. Over the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years, who knows how long I'm going to be here. If I can help a single person, one at a time, remove themselves as a bottleneck of their business, take themselves out, input systems, input processes, allow themselves to actually be the CEO of their company so that every decision doesn't lean on them, every call doesn't lean on them, and they can actually enjoy life, because people get involved in business because they don't want a boss, they want time freedom. But oftentimes when people are in business, they have no time freedom. They are their own boss and their own glorified employee, and they're never able to step outside of that box. So if I can help one person at a time identify themselves, see that they need to make the shift, help them make the shift, and now they start living the life that they deserve, 10, 20, 15 years from now, I can change families. I can change, childhood. I could change, fatherhood. I could change marriages, because I allowed somebody now to be present and do different things that they wouldn't have been able to do if they stayed in that situation.
Yeah, what it sounds like after that heart attack was you started to shift your thinking to legacy. What am I leaving behind? So how do you apply that in your coaching business? Because you coach business owners who are stuck at the same revenue level year after year. Yeah. They're working nonstop, they're wearing every hat, and everything still falls on them. No matter how hard they think they're gonna fucking work and get rid of those problems, they still seem to persist. From what you see inside these businesses, what are the top 3 bottlenecks that keep entrepreneurs trapped at that ceiling? And what are they doing every day that's actually holding them back?
Well, the first thing is, as a business owner, we feel like we're the best in our business and we're the best at our business. And that's the biggest false truth that we live. So meaning, let's say you're a business owner and there's 5 major tasks in your business. Oftentimes a business owner will say, man, if I could just find one more of me. And you hear it all the time. That's the most selfish thing we could think as a business owner, because what we're actually saying is, hey, everyone that we bring into our company sucks. And if they just worked like me, we would be there. But the truth is if you were that good, your business wouldn't be stuck where it is, number one. Number two, there's people out there who can outperform you in the things that you think you're that good at. Meaning those 5 things that say that you have in your business, those 5 roles, if you hired one person who was really good at that skill, they will outperform you every day of the week. Now fill every single one of those roles, create culture, and create a place where people feel challenged to work and are excited. And you could step back and look at your organization and look at your business growing without you thinking you have to make every decision, right? Outside of that, stop looking at the problem being the person you're hiring or the things going on in your office, because you're the one who are creating those problems. Everyone wants to blame this employee, blame this situation, blame this customer, whatever it is. But the fact is that we are the problem. We are the major problem of our business. And that line of whatever revenue you're stuck at it because there's just kind of like a universal law where you can't grow to where you aren't. So your business will never grow to a place that you don't deserve. I often tell people, like, you can't be blessed if you're not blessable. You're never going to be able to have an opportunity if that opportunity isn't a vehicle that you know how to drive. So you have to be experienced enough to know that you can handle what's coming. And if you're not, that's exactly why you're stuck where you are.
So you talk a lot about ambition versus alignment. So you said ambition without alignment keeps people chasing forever. Can you please break that down for us? And what does alignment actually look like in actual practice? And what changed for you specifically when you stopped chasing growth and started building from purpose instead?
Yeah, that's a great question. So ambition is like that hustle. Everyone's like, oh, I hustle so hard, I work so hard, I do all this. But if you're not in alignment of why you're going somewhere or what you're trying to do, meaning everyone wants to make money. So if the reason why you're in business is because you want to make all this money, you're just going to make enough money. Right. But if you don't have a real passion of what you're trying to do and who you're trying to impact and what your actually end result is, and you make money secondary, you're going to be stuck in this place where you chase money, chase money, chase money, and every single month, every single year looks exactly the same. But once you start going out there and becoming impactful in what you're doing and you're driving for a reason, whatever that purpose is, and you follow that purpose and you follow that passion and you show up every single day because you're excited about it and you're not worried about how much money's coming in or where you're going, money's going to follow because you're actually doing something for purpose and on purpose. But at the end of the day, most business owners, they just chase the next dollar. They have more week at the end of the money and they're always, going from tons of money to no money because they cycle themselves in this place where they live in this roller coaster of, insecurity, emotional unawareness and not knowing what's going on. And a lot of people get involved in business for money. Right. That's no reason to get involved in business. If you want to be in business, you have to get involved in business for a reason that you're going to be making an impact to the people who work with you or for you, for the people that you're serving, and knowing that every time you show up, the real reason why you're showing up is to make a difference. And as long as you make a difference, it's not about the hours that you put in. It's about the value that you bring to the hour. Then you'll always get paid. Hey guys, quick interruption to the show. We have Joe and Micah here from Ability Tree. Joe, why don't you share with us what you do at Ability Tree?
Hey, yeah, thank you, Dan. So we come alongside families impacted by disability by providing rest, recreation, education, support, and training, basically bringing families impacted by disability out of isolation into community.
Awesome. Hey guys, after this video, you're going to see a link in the caption. Make sure you check out Ability Tree and check out his mission here with Micah. Awesome.
Yeah, a lot of entrepreneurship is leadership.
Yeah.
And, you're not just a business owner or a coach. You're also a father, a speaker, and someone who constantly talks about legacy. You've personally said if you don't fix yourself, your kids inherit your flaws. So how has fatherhood changed how you lead, how you make decisions, and how you define success today compared to earlier in your career?
Yeah, it's a great question as well. So in the beginning, I was chasing vanity. I was chasing money. Early in my career, I had 2 kids, and that's when I went bankrupt. And what was super popular in those days was MTV Cribs. And when we were young and we saw that was the image of success. If you had the big house, if you had the nice car, you were successful. And when you chase that whole image, and then your bubble gets bursted, you realize that there's a lot more things important in life. Or you fall into a hole where you never come back. Meaning, your identity becomes what you ultimately believe. And I remember when I went bankrupt at 24, I had left my lawyer's office. I come home. My 2 kids are there. They're like a year old and a year and a half old. Almost 2 years old, whatever. I don't even know. But they were little. And when I walk in, both of them boys were standing there with their arms out. And they were excited to see me, number one. Number two, they were welcoming me home with open arms. So that was the shift where I didn't see that. Even though that was happening prior to me literally losing everything, I was just chasing the dollar. But when the dollar was gone and that was left there, that's where the wealth switch went off. I go, wow, like, now if I do something for purpose and I follow my dreams and I do it for them, the only thing that can happen is I can show them and prove them, number one, through hard times you always get through. Number two, you never give up. And number three, as long as you're doing it for something that holds most value in your life outside of money, you're going to be able to achieve it. So what I've done over the course of the last, my kids are like 21 and 20 and 16. They're older now. But what I've done for the last, let's say, 18 years of their life to now is I put them first. I put everything first with them, and I know that everything that I teach them, everything I do is going to be the most impactful thing. So we grow up in a world where they say, hey, children should be seen, not heard, right? And then we also are brought up in a world where it's like, kids are going to do as we do, not as we say. And we've learned this from our grandparents up to our parents and everything. And it's so true that your kids identify your patterns. They identify what you do. They identify how you show up. And everything that we do, we model it to them. So when our kids are fuck-ups, it's our problem. When our kids are not doing and excelling at their highest levels, it's our problem. But we want to blame their friends, their surroundings, and everything. But they're looking at us as the key indicator of showing them what's possible. Hence the reason why I got divorced, right? So I had a daughter. She was like 8, 9 years old, and she comes up to me, asks me a question about, why I don't sleep in bed with her mom. And, at that point I knew this is a breaking decision that's going to either make life better or make life worse. Most people who have a bad relationship, they go, we're going to hold off until the kids are out of school. Why? So we're going to put ourselves in pain, teach the kids that this is okay. Now these kids are going to go out there and see this pattern, and they're all going to marry into the same situation that we're in. So having a daughter, I realized, like, if I tell my daughter for the next 9 years, by the time she's 18, that this is okay, she's going to find a man like me that doesn't want to be connected to the wife. She's going to think that this is the way to live, and she's going to be disconnected to anyone that she decides to live her life with. What kind of role model am I? So the same thing goes on in business and everything we do. So everything that we do is impactful to our kids. And the way that we teach them is by the way that we show up, how we represent. I don't drink, right? So by me not drinking, it shows my kids like, hey, that's not okay. We don't do that. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I don't vape. I don't do none of that stuff. And my kids know that stuff's not okay. But you got all these other parents that are, every single photo that they're taking in family photos, they got a vape in their hand. And it's like, what are you doing for your kids? You're going to be grandparents one day, 30 years from now. You're going to look at this picture. You got this fucking thing in your hand. Like, this is what you're teaching your kids. But then your kids, 15, 14 years old, come home vaping and you're getting mad at them. You're teaching them this is okay. So we could tell our kids it's not okay to drink. We could tell our kids it's not okay to smoke. But we do it. And they're just going to mirror what we do, because no matter what we say, they're a direct reflection to how we act and how we show up.
Yeah, there's a saying that kids don't listen to a word you say, but they're always watching.
Exactly.
And they're going to model the people that have been given the assignment of caring for them and teaching them how to navigate this thing called life. So that was really powerful. Dan, you host podcasts, you speak on stages, and you run high-level masterminds. You're big on proximity and being in those right rooms. For someone skeptical about investing their time, their hard-earned money, or their energy into coaching, masterminds, or personal development, what's the real ROI that you've seen in your own life that can't be replaced by free content or YouTube videos?
That's a great question, too. So we think about this for a second. We go to school from 1st grade to 12th grade for 12,000 hours. We get taught by average people how to be average. And we get this conditional thinking that we have to go to high school, go to college, and get a job. Every single person outside of doctors, lawyers, and accountants that I've known in my life that have went to college are broke. So the system is broken, number one. Number two, we're taught to do things in a pattern because it's easy to teach a pattern than it is to teach and model real life. And then our real life becomes what we ultimately believe. So what I found over the course of the last 20 plus years is that if I want to learn how to be or do something, I have to figure out who's doing it or where I can get that information from. So at 16 years old, I picked up my first personal development book and my second. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was my first book, and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill was my second. And I bought the one book at a garage sale for 50 cents. I just thought it was cool. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I didn't even understand. And then someone told me about Napoleon Hill. And I think I paid like $7 for that book. And I can just tell you that I think because I bought the books, I like invested in myself. And I was like forced to read it. So I read those books. And what those books taught me was more than I learned in that 10 or 11 years of school.
For sure.
It taught me real life principles. It taught me the difference about who I am versus who I can become. It taught me that I don't have to listen to all of those people who are surrounding me, because the outside world, there are people who know better. So investing in people who are going places that you're going is important. Investing in yourself to be able to learn and grow to get to those places that you deserve to be are important. And number three, we've only got one shot at life. So if we surround ourselves with people who aren't living their best life, ultimately we're not going to live our best life. So I truly believe that there's an opportunity that we're going to have one day when we go to heaven and we meet God, and he's going to say this to every single person. He's going to say, hey, listen, I gave you all this opportunity. I put all these people in front of you, and I showed you the way. But you just wanted to be comfortable, and you just want to keep hanging out with those people when I was trying to bring you around these people. For me, I realized, hey, God's going to say something to me like this. Dan, I don't know what the difference between you and some of these other people is, but I gave you all these opportunities, and you blew the lid off of it. Because I look at every opportunity as something I can learn from, whether it's good or bad, and I take it with intention that, hey, this is going to put me in front of more people. This is going to bring my life to a different place. And I've had a coach for the last 20 years because I realized that I learned nothing in school from an underpaid person who didn't even want to be there and just taught me out of a textbook. You can't teach people how to change their life out of a book. Right. You could teach people how to change their life only from life experience. So if I want to do something big in life, I have to find someone who's been through that experience so they can give me the cheat code of how to get there. So surrounding yourself with people who have a common future is often the hardest thing for people to do because they tend to want to stick around with people who have a common past. So for me, I want to hang out with proximity. Proximity is power, and people who are going in the same direction I am.
It's so crazy. You said we're being taught to be mediocre by mediocre people that played it safe. That's super powerful because, you know, I struggle with the value that school has. I personally have been through the whole ringer and I've been to college, and I got to tell you, there's nothing more valuable than being in rooms or learning on the fly or getting your hands dirty and actually doing the work. So I think we're at a shift too in culture where we're seeing that education is not as valuable as it used to be. And now with AI and technology exploding, we see those two things butting heads where professors who studied hard in their own right and they're intellectuals are now rebuking the whole idea of embracing technology. And guess what? That's what average people will do. Yeah. Because this is foreign to me. No, this is easy. This is not how you do things. They want things to stay the same. Like, because they went through this process, they're not being flexible enough to embrace the future. And I think so many of us fall into that trap, entrepreneurs being the first of them. So there's a massive difference between running a business that pays the bills and building something that creates freedom, impact, and longevity. What has to die for an entrepreneur to make that leap? And more importantly, what has to be born?
Well, number one, you have to believe that you deserve more. And most entrepreneurs make as much money as an employee who literally works a little bit of overtime. So we get involved in this place where we work and we think the harder that we work, the better we're going to be. But that's not true. The smarter we work, the more impactful we're going to become and the bigger organizations we can grow. So what has to be born is that you, number one, can't do it alone. Number two, the way that you want to grow your business today, let's say that you have a company and you're doing, I don't know, $1 million a year. You have to change the way you think if you want to do $10 million a year. And then you have to change the way you think if you want to do $20 million a year. Because the way that you think, the way that you operate, and all the things that you have in your head don't operate at the same level. So you have to unlearn things, relearn things, change the way you do things. And you got to get yourself in a position around people who are doing these things, and you can see that it works. But you can't have a $100,000 work ethic and tell me you want to make $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year. And it's not necessarily a work ethic that you're working harder, but it's a work ethic that you're willing to put into work to become the person who could handle this shift and get into that place where you want to be. Not say, okay, I'm here. If I just work a little bit harder, it's all going to show up to me, because it doesn't work that way.
Dan, if someone's listening right now and they're stuck and they're frustrated, knowing they're capable of more, like you just mentioned, they're unsure of what move to make next, what's the one thing you want them to do today? And what's the first real step in making it happen?
Well, number one, believe that you deserve more. Number 2, do whatever it is you need to do to take one step forward to get to that place. Change doesn't happen overnight, and change doesn't happen by chance. Change happens by choice. You have to make the choice to change, to become that version of yourself that you want to be, to show up the way people deserve you to show up. And you have to make a decision that operating at the levels you are right now, doing the things you are right now, are only going to bring you the results you are right now. So like, we're in a new year, freshly in a new year, and everyone thinks that if they just work a little bit harder, if they just eat a little bit better, at the end of this year, it's going to cycle. Absolutely not. You got to change everything about you. It's going to take the next 90 days of discipline, changing your habits, changing your routines, and doing everything completely different on how you did, so that everything in your life changes and shows up to be in a spot where you can get that change, you can get that growth, because all those old habits are gone. So anything that you're doing right now, you have to forget about it, and you have to learn that whatever it is that you want to do, it's going to change, and it's going to change inside of you, but you have to figure out what it is to become that change and be a participator in that change, because change doesn't just happen. It's something that we develop with the disciplines that we have to ultimately become the person that we want to be.
It's fascinating. I had a guest on a show the other day, and she said something simple but beautiful. She said, change can't occur without change. And people want the change without the change in themselves.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious. I mean, it's sad, but it's funny, because now that we know better and we've done the work, we know what it takes, but people are so resistant to it. It's a shame. However, everybody's on their own journey, and I just want to thank you for allowing me to share some time with you and get to know you, and hopefully get your audience a little more acquainted with your story and how you can help them. And brother, thank you so much, and I'll let you wrap it since it's your thing.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you got some good, valuable insight there. If you're looking for coaching in business, check me out, bigdcoaching.com. I also run masterminds in New Jersey and in Florida. Check out bigdmastermind.com. I'm also a speaker. If you're looking for a speaker for your next event, you can check out bigdspeaking.com and connect with me. If you are not subscribed here on my podcast, 70% of you who watch the Big D podcast aren't even subscribed. Like, subscribe, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Hit the share button. This is the only way we could share this message. Anything you need to know, anything you need me to elaborate based on what I talked about today, shoot me a message. Looking forward to it. Again, this is the Big D Podcast, Wealth, Freedom, Relentless Execution, and I'll see you at the top.
Yo, Big D in the house, baby. Relentless execution, you already know. This is for the dream chasers, the grinders, the doers. Let's get it. Relentless execution, we don't ever stop. Climbing to the top, we rise like a rocket. Big D's the name, yeah, I'm running the game. From the ground up, now they all know the name. Big D. Started from the bottom, had a vision so clear. Building empires from the sweat and the tears. Serial entrepreneur, that's the brand I wear. In the game for the long haul, I'm always prepared. From the business to the podcast, always making moves. Every step calculated, never losing the groove. Study the greats, now I'm making my own rules. Success in my blood, ain't no way I'll lose. I got systems, got strategies, laid out the plan. Built a dynamic lifestyle, that's the Big D brand. Raised a family on vision, now I take a stand. Roadmap to success, it's in the palm of my hand. We're relentless execution, we don't ever stop. Climbing to the top, we rise like a rocket. Big D's the name, yeah, I'm running the game. From the ground up, now they all